And we are here. And I don't know why I don't have a camera. Hopefully, I do have audio, which I really, really hope. And it looks like I do. Let me try to figure out why the hell I don't have a camera. But everyone out there, hi, how you doing? This is John Crump. And if you want to join, just join in the fun. We always have fun on this show. And this is an open stream Friday. And I just decided to do it to talk to you wonderful people. If you don't know who I am, I'm an investigative journalist who is currently tracing cables to try to figure out what the hell is going on with my camera. But I don't have a camera right now, but that's okay. Today, we are going to be talking about a lot of different things going on in the 2A world. I just need to decompress. But one of the main things is that the David Chipman nomination, not David Chipman, I always call that guy David Chipman, the Gary Dettelbach nomination is headed to the floor. And I am expecting to see it probably Monday-ish. And that's not a good thing if you like your guns, because he is a douchebag. So, in the description, you can see a link. That's a StreamYard link. If you want to join, go ahead and click that little link. Jump on in. I see a bunch of people out there. John Pierce, who is an attorney, if it's the right John Pierce. There is also Shooting Gallery New England's out there, G Web's out there, Jerry Compton. Jerry, my man, you need to come on and say hi sometimes. DJ Play Nice. I haven't seen DJ Play Nice in a long time. DJ Play Nice, come on in. I see David Philpott. If you want to come on in too, you can come on in. And then there's Dark and Shooting Gallery New England. So, kind of been a tough week, I will admit. The thing about the Gary Doodlebug, as I call him, he went to the House Judiciary, and the House Judiciary, they vote. It's a 22-member staff, and they have members of both the Republicans and the Democrats there. 11 Democrats, 11 Republicans. And they voted to basically say that they don't give a recommendation. It was done on party lines, 11-11. I'm working with my cables as I'm trying to do this. Right down party lines, and 11-11. So they did no recommendations. If he would have got less than 11 votes, it would have been an unfavorable recommendation. If there would have been more than 11 votes, it would have been a favorable recommendation. But since it was 11-11, it was no recommendation. So the next step was it goes to the House floor, and they have to vote to basically move on the nomination to release it from the judiciary. That vote took place, and that vote was interesting for a number of reasons. One, that it was 52-41, and David Chipman never got to this stage. So the vote was 52-41 to move him on to the next step. There was 2 Republicans that voted to move him to the House floor for a not House floor, the Senate floor for a final vote. And those 2 Republicans were Rob Portman from Ohio and Susan Collins from Maine. Both of those guys are big gun control supporters, even though that they claim that they're not. But they definitely are. They are 100% in the camp of the anti-gunners. So 2 Republicans betrayed gun owners like you and I and voted for. I'm gonna go ahead and switch this cable out. See, maybe it's just a cable problem. Voted for Gary Doodlebug himself to advance. And it looks like they are going to be voting for Gary Doodlebug to go ahead and get out of the Senate totally, which is pathetic if you ask me. What is it? 5-0? I'm not sounding good? Oh my god. Please tell me I'm sounding good. Dark, why don't you come on and entertain the people while I fix my goddamn camera? So the vote will probably take place on Monday or Tuesday of next week, which is kind of terrible. And it does look like he has the votes to pass. I'm not giving up quite yet, guys, but just keep in mind that he probably does have the votes to pass. But we can stop him by going ahead and flooding our senators and with calls and emails saying, don't nominate this guy because this guy is a douchebag, which he is. And just to remind you, if you want to join in and join the chat, you can. There's a link in the description. But yeah, or in the pinned comment too. So we really, really need to get everyone on board and go ahead and push their senators to vote no on Steve Doodlebug, Bach, whatever you want to call him. I call him Bug, but that's just me. Let's see here. I am going to try to switch web browsers and see if I can get anything started. And no, I cannot. Is my camera dead? Oh my goodness. What a piece of junk camera. I got a Brio hooked up to this computer and it usually works, but for some reason it is not working. So I'm just going to turn off the camera. I guess I can hook up my DSLR and see if I can go this way. DJ Play Nice, thank you so much for putting up the number. The number is up on the screen right now. It's 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. Let's go ahead and talk about Steve Doodlebug and what he believes in. He is a anti-gunner through and through. He's 100% anti-gunner. He wants certain things. He believes that all semi-automatic rifles and pistols, like AR stuff, are assault weapons, and he wants to see them banned. He also wants to see so-called high-capacity magazines, and as you and I know them, they are just regular magazines. He wants to see them banned too, because of reasons. Because he's a dirtbag, douchebag, whatever you want to call him. He is just not a very nice guy. So he wants that Dordle Barker, yeah, I don't know, Barker. Whatever he is, he's a douchebag. I'm just gonna call him Steve Douchebag. Oh, and we might have a camera here. There we go. Hi, everyone. You can actually see me now. Thank you so much for all the patience. Yes. So that's what we need to do. Another thing that did not happen is the decision between the Supreme Court and the New York State Pistol Rifle Association versus Braun case. A lot of people were saying that it was going to come out this week, but here's the thing. Thank you, CG. I love you too. Here's the thing about that case. No one can tell for sure. I'm freaking cold. I got a blanket. No one can tell for sure when that case will be decided. They did add 2 days for opinions next week. So hopefully we'll get that. There's also the Barr case, that's the abortion case that's out there. So dial up the video. If my video quality bad, I don't get it. I don't know. Whatever. So Tuesday and Thursday will be opinion days. We have, I believe, like 18. Hold on. Let's see here. Like 14 decisions, I believe, still to come down. One of those will be the New York State Pistol Rifle Association case, and the other one will be the Barr case. What is making me nervous about the New York State Pistol Rifle Association case is the amount of decisions Thomas have authored this time. I was really hoping for Thomas to be the author of it, but I'm not so sure looking at the number of decisions him and Amy Coney Barrett has authored. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen with that. I'm getting kind of nervous, but of course I'm nervous. One thing you'll notice about the cases is that judges don't really like to rock the boat when it comes to government agencies. They don't like to interfere with other branches of government, and they don't like to interfere with states, even though they really should. They try to weasel their way out of making any type of decision that goes either way. The Heller decision was an example of this, so to speak, because they always threw in that little commonly owned clause in there. And a lot of Democrats have latched onto that cause to say that the Second Amendment is not absolute. And that was them putting weasel words in there. So when you read the decisions, you have to watch out for weasel words. Let's go ahead and move over to the Miami gun buyback, guns for Ukraine. All right. Second Amendment Foundation did a lot on this. Lee Williams over the Second Amendment Foundation, awesome writer. He wrote about this. And with that case, there is definitely an interesting point to that. You know what? I am going to go live to my main channel too. I'm gonna go to Rich's channel as well. All right. So I'm going live to all the channels now. So let's talk about this gun buyback in Ukraine. Gun buyback in Miami for Ukraine. Apparently, the Miami Police Department did not know that you needed an export license to send guns over to Ukraine. So they are working to try to get an export license to send guns over to Ukraine, which is kind of crazy. And wasn't there something similar done in New York with guns to Ukraine? Yes. But you need to have ITAR license. Miami currently does not have an ITAR license. So I don't know. Maybe they were just going to pack it up and FedEx them all over there. But whatever. That did not happen because they're idiots. So, and here's another thing, right? most of the guns in Ukraine, most of the ammo in Ukraine, I should say, is 7.62 by 3.9 AK ammo, right? Most of the guns they are looking for is ARs, which take 5.56. Scorched Earth, Rod, come on in. I still don't have access to my Facebook, but there is. Let me drop the link in there. This is an open stream, so anyone can join. So the interesting thing is they're going to send a bunch of 5.56 over there. Or not 5.56, ARs over there. And yet they don't have the ammo for ARs over there. So what the hell are these Ukrainians going to do? Are they going to use them as clubs against the Russians? They're useless. They're sending stuff over there that they can't feed with ammo because they don't have the right type of ammo. So this whole Miami thing is a ploy to get firearms from the citizenry. And also, these guys are really anti-gun. And the Ukraine is arming civilians. So yeah. So we'll get to the Lake City thing in a minute, but I just wanted to finish up with they want to send ARs over to Ukraine, and there's no ammo over there for ARs because it's all 7.62. So they're sending nothing. What the hell? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Let's move on to this Lake City thing, and this is crazy. Oh, it looks like I have G-Webs and Coop. How are you guys doing?
What's up, Crump?
Yeah. So what do you guys think about this Miami going to send a bunch of ARs that they collect to Ukraine, even though there's no ammo for them over in Ukraine?
Well, one, it shows you how little they know about gun laws. Two, it shows you how little they know about guns themselves.
Yeah, you can't buy back. Plus, there's dark. And plus, how did they not know you needed an ITAR license to export firearms?
Hey, man, they're the law. They think they get to do whatever they want.
I probably didn't think about it. Just assume they can do whatever they want. Because they can. If they have a reason to do it, they'll just call somebody and then they'll make whatever or take whatever they need to do. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
I
heard about a buyback, but I didn't know it was, or a buyback for the Ukraine. But I assumed they were going to buy back a bunch of stuff and then sell the stuff for scrap or something and send them money. So how much did they give people for ARs? Do you know?
Like $300. Oh, by the way, look.
Oh, I thought it was 150.
Maybe it was 150. I don't know. But by the way,
I
look at that is Flying Rich crashing into a car, crashing into a house.
Oh, nice.
Nice. That is beautiful. Excellent work, Coop.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't understand that.
So they gave them less than 500 for an AR.
Oh,
yeah. From what I understand, it was $50 for a shotgun, $100 for a pistol, and $150 for a rifle.
Yeah, that's what it's typically at a buyback or whatever. So that's what I assumed it was, and then I just assumed they were going to sell it and give the money to them, because what are they going to give them with all those shotguns and bolt action 22s and garbage that goes into a buyback?
Oh, so dude, there's people out in Caltech running sub 2000s.
You get to see a bunch of people over in the Ukraine running around with high points.
Oh God, no!
Well, every time I go to
please no, for the love of God. But hey, if they run out of ammo, they can always beat the Russians to death with them.
Yeah,
usually just a hodgepodge of shotguns, single barrel stuff, bolt action stuff, nothing.
Or a bunch of lower receivers.
Well, yeah, they're gonna like here's your firearm, and they're gonna be like,
said, here's $500 for an AR. Then a bunch of people went out and bought the cheapest ARs they could possibly find and hobble them together so that they qualify, and then they're sending those over. That's like sending over booby traps.
They got a handout like, oh, here's your firearm. Go fight the Russians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or what do I do? Throw it at them?
You thought this was a gun, so
here's your other firearm.
Yeah,
Maybe you can stab them.
but they send a bunch of 3D printed lowers over. By the time they get there, they're all melted.
Hey, we
You know what
could
they
just
should-
get P80 Ralph over there with a printer, and he could just start pumping guns out for him.
I know, man. See, they need to tap into the gun community so we can help them.
I wonder if they have micro centers over there.
Yeah, they probably got better printers over there because they're getting them straight from China at a really low price.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Micro Center has a $9.99 deal.
People
Yeah.
are saying that Remington is supplying the ammunition. Rod, what's up, man? I still can't get onto my Facebook.
Dude, okay, so may I make a brief announcement about ammunition?
What's up?
So, about 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine that's in the ammunition industry hit me up, and he was like, Dark, buy ammo. Because I told him I was like critically low, that I was below the 10,000 round mark. And he was like, buy ammo ASAP. And I was like, what's going on? He was like, look, there are a few things that are going to happen that, like now that ammunition is at, and look, guys, let me stop for a second. I'm the one that was constantly saying, stop buying ammo, unless you absolutely have to. Do not buy ammo. Let's control it to bring the cost down a little bit. I'm right now telling you to buy ammo because the guy that I was talking to said a few things are going to happen that are going to change the prices permanently. And this was like 2 weeks ago. And he had said, basically, ammunition has gone up. It'll never go back to what it was ever. And that right now it is at its absolute lowest that it will ever be. It is going to go back up because of a few things, quote, that are going to happen, and to buy now, basically. And I called two other people that are also in the ammo industry, and they both confirmed similar things. And then within like a week, you hear that Biden is banning Lake City, which is 30% of our. Is it just green tips, or to what I understand?
No, MA55.
Okay, so from what I understood, the way it was explained to me was that the contract with Lake City says that they are allowed to sell any and all of their overrun for their government contracts.
Well, they only
civilians.
produce green tips for government contracts.
Okay, all right. So, well, that's not bad. But apparently that's 30% of 5.56 ammo.
Yeah.
Okay. And after, so anyway, I guess what I'm saying is it's important that you have enough stashed away because, people in the industry themselves are saying that the price will absolutely never go back down, even to where it is now. It is only going to go up into buy ammo ASAP.
Can I show you guys something?
Yeah,
Sure.
man, hit it.
$74.
What was $74? Oh, Freedom Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to sell them for $50, and they were buy one get one free. It's
Wow.
crazy. Things have changed a lot. I don't love the Freedom Wolf because of the mix of components of Gen 4, Gen 3 with a Gen 3.5 locking block, which is a little ridiculous. But I got one. It's not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it is. But this whole ammo thing is just effing insane to me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is.
Rod, how you doing? If you guys don't know, this is Rod Mills, trainer extraordinaire, super trainer from Scorched Earth Firearms.
How you guys doing today?
What's up, brother?
Hey, nothing too much. Hey, we're talking about ammo. Hell, let's look at everything else. I mean, if you're not prepping right now, you should be.
Mm-hmm. That's true, man. Water, food, shelter,
Yeah.
security.
It
And
won't
that's,
do you a damn bit of
OG
good.
sticks, OG
If
sticks,
you
whatever
got
they're
one.
called.
yeah, that's
Get cord.
Yeah, you know where I can find a good deal on some deck cord?
Actually, I could give you a recipe to set this. Or never mind. We can talk about that on my channel.
Yeah. We'll hit that up later.
Go to your channel, do that.
But,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean-
I give out explosive recipes. It's legal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it is definitely time. I mean, everyone should be prepping a little bit.
I'm gonna tell you guys some info. This year I've lost 25,000 out of my 401k.
Yep.
Yeah.
$25,000 gone.
Yeah.
Like somebody just ripped me off.
That's why I invest in alcohol and cigarettes. So price ain't never coming down.
Bro,
Yeah, well,
I'm not gonna
I
lie.
got my weed stocks, but my weed stocks ain't doing real good either.
I was tempted to literally pull everything out of my long-term savings and
Buy
just buy
cigarettes?
machine guns. No, buy machine guns. Because I mean, unless the Hughes Amendment is repealed, which we all
That's not
know
gonna-
that's not gonna happen.
No, there's just one other way. They can open up the registry one more time.
Well, there is like 3 or 4 weeks of amnesty left
That doesn't make old machine guns worth less. That makes them worth more.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the Hughes Amendment's not going
$1,000
away.
AR-15s and $1,000 Thompsons make original Thompsons and original AR-15s skyrocket in price. So definitely invest in machine guns at any point in time.
Yeah, like for example, like an AR, like a M16 back in like 2013 was 20-ish K.
Yeah. I actually, my
Now it's
buddy
like
got
double.
that. The Olympic Arms, my buddy got that one for 14,500. And we just stripped everything and built a new modern gun off of the M16 lower.
In 2013, something happened that was horrible from a single individual that was following the game plan provided by the media, and there was nothing else going on, and they tried to take away 23 executive actions and take away Second Amendment stuff, and they weren't able to do that due to activism and due to people's just gut reaction to say no, the same way we did in '94. This year, we're seeing a push like we saw back then or something similar. However, we're seeing it after an influx of new gun owners who since 2013 who've been gun owners have been more aware and more active. We see a more active group of organizations. So I see the potential for the NFA getting pushed away closer than ever. We're getting attacked by people who are trying to distract from literally every single thing that they've got going on right now. The border, the economy, health, the wars, every single thing they're doing, they're trying to distract from. As soon as the organizations figure out that instead of trying to pat themselves on the back and say, yeah, we're right, and we finished this last bit of attacks before the elections, we can push the other way. They have nothing to stand on. We've got precedents on short barrel rifles with pistol braces forever. We've got precedent on bump stocks. We got precedent on suppressors. We got 25 states with constitutional carry, for crying out loud. We've already had a massive momentum. We've got all the stuff in a row, everything we've ever had, better position than we've ever had to get rid of the NFA. And all it'll take is pushing on it, because we've got more and more people that understand that it's a massive infringement, massive tyranny, like it says on the bottom of the screen. So I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all. In fact, I think it would be a shame if we don't take that, because we're dealing with the weakest opponents we've ever had and the most people on our side that we've ever had, the most ability to communicate that we've ever had before.
I don't disagree that there's been a lot of forward movement, but if you had to look back over the last decade and say, who is winning, those controlling or freedom and liberty, I gotta say, I would not say us right now. And the direction that we're headed in.
World War II and tell me who is going to win. Pick any date in World War I and tell me who is going to win. Pick any date in any conflict and tell me, just because they having some? And there's not even wins. That's what I'm saying. That's not even looking at long picture. What they've got is a couple of things that they stand on, which are old and dusty and are falling apart. They're not winning anyway.
Well, you still got to look at it though. Even though they may kind of like a boxing match, you know, even though they might still be getting beat up in the ring a little bit, the ring announcer sitting over there is still saying they're winning. You know,
Okay.
and the majority of people are paying attention to that, thinking, well, the majority of people are still paying attention to that, thinking machine guns are bad. Well, I have this gun, but you know, this gun's only, you know, pump action shotgun, so we still need to ban these ARs. There's a whole lot of people that own guns who are not.
The majority of people don't do anything except watch what happens. So I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree. But that doesn't mean that when a minority who's active and able to get the word out in a good way, like memes are able to, and like organizations have been able to when necessary, and once they figure out that they've got the ability to do that as leadership, not when we are reacting and being challenged, but instead to be, proactive.
Yeah, you're right. We
don't need to win everybody over. You know how we win everybody over? Look at all the states with constitutional carry.
25
people in Texas when the 20-something state was saying we want constitutional carry. They're like, oh, there'll be blood in the streets, ignoring 20-something states that have had constitutional carry, like Arizona, since 2010. July 30th will be 12 years with constitutional carry in Arizona. So people will see the NFA disappear and go, oh, maybe machine guns weren't the problem.
Man, I can't wait for the day when they do that. For sure.
You know, talking about machine guns and stuff, I read about something today. Actually, I watched a video about it and I read about it. It was about the battle of, what is it, like it was 1989, and it was in Washington, where there was a group of Crips that were like causing trouble in a neighborhood. So this dude was like a ranger and he moved in there. So he started pushing back against Crips, organizing neighborhood watches. The police weren't really doing anything. So he caused them so much trouble and put up video cameras and started videoing the car for like the drug dealings and stuff like that. So they threatened to come over and shoot up his house. So you know what he did? He called his ranger buddies and they had a cookout and set up defensive positions.
You talking about in Detroit?
No, this is in Washington State.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what? My bad. Seattle. Okay, yeah. Tacoma, I think.
Tacoma, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that video last week. It was crazy, hilarious.
Yeah, so the Crips attacked this guy's house.
Yeah.
But he just happened to have 20 of his ranger buddies in there. Are fully armed. And
nice.
Just put it this way. The neighborhood's cleaned up and he still lives there.
Yep. Sure does.
Nice. That's some Gran Torino stuff right there.
Yeah. But he had a cookout and told them to bring their guns. And that's what it takes sometimes, right?
Well, here's what you need, John. Here's what we need more of. Killdozers.
A White Space Marine brings up the Battle of Athens, but that was in Georgia. I think that was Tennessee.
Was in Georgia.
No, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah, it's Tennessee.
We need more killdozers in the neighborhoods.
Killdozers, yes.
That's a magical word that will they'll likely not look at your stream highly for that, but that's a beautiful piece of work though.
Yeah. But if you don't know, somebody brought up Athens. What happened? There was corrupt elections where the people in charge would just go collect up all the ballots, and the guys that are in power would always win because the police department, the sheriff's department was all corrupt. And so a bunch of soldiers that came back from World War II decided they were going to run against them. And they tried to do the same thing. And the citizenship grabbed their firearms, surrounded the police station, fought back until they got the ballots back, and they have a big firefight. And the interesting thing about that is the local sheriff's department called, and the governor's son picked up the phone. He's like, "You got to send the National Guard," and the governor's son hung up on him. So he's like, "I'll send a National Guard in there. You guys are on your own."
Howdy, gentlemen.
Hi, welcome to the stream.
Thank you. My first time here.
Yeah, I do this every once in a while just to talk to people that I don't usually get to talk to, and it's usually the same people that join.
Well, hopefully I can fit in with you. Maybe not. We'll see. So what I've heard so far, I like. So
I'm sure you will fit in perfectly.
You'll fit right in.
I'm in the state of Tennessee.
So you know about Athens.
Oh yeah.
Athens. Interesting thing is, do you know what the guy's last name? The big boss guy of like all the corrupt guys. His last name was Crump. What does it mean? No relation.
Well, imagine that.
No relation. I would not have been on his side. Yeah. William Peebles says they raided the National Guard armory, and that's what they did. Bring guns, and they brought it down, and it shows when people say, there's no need for firearms to defeat tyranny. Tyranny hasn't happened since like 1776 or whatnot. You can point to Athens, or Rod knows about this, Black Wall Street.
Yep.
Yeah. Over in Tulsa.
To tell people about Black Wall Street. You did it on my stream before, Rod.
Well, it was a situation where African Americans basically had their own financial sector, whereas what they're doing right now is what you see in most cities, like with the Korean population, Chinese population, Jewish population, even I'm going to say in some cities, you can look at the Middle Eastern European, such as Bosnian, those type people. What they do is they went in and they had their own investments. They invested in businesses, homeowners, everything. Everything was going good. And then there was a situation, and it can't be confirmed or denied at this point of who said who or what or when, or something happened and it sparked off a racial incident. And it basically subsequently the whole area of town or city, well, I'm not going to say the city, but the area of town in which they were in was actually burned down, and
they bombed it.
Did they bomb it? Burned down. Okay, I got to check.
What I'm saying. Yeah, it burned down, but it burned down because they bombed.
It was firebombed.
Yeah, they firebombed the government firebombed their own people.
Right. Also, think about this. Look what happened to those Asian Americans that actually fought in, I think, was it World War II, and they had them. They rounded all the Asians up.
The Japanese.
Japanese. Okay, yeah, and
internment camps.
They put them in camps, and I'm like, I didn't even know that growing up, and I'm like, wow. So I'm thinking like, man, what if that could have happened to me? There's your tyrannical government right there in a nutshell.
Look what the government did to the residents of Tuskegee right in the same time period.
Yeah, in World War II, when they bombed Pearl Harbor, a bunch of people were like, "Hey, can we move?" Because the neighborhoods were like, "Oh, I don't like the idea of somebody from Japan living here." So you could look at it that the government took everybody and rounded them up. But if you listen to the things, they were in a camp or whatever. You know, they were in a government camp or whatever. But if you listen to the stories of it, nobody dug it. But I don't think people were interested in staying at home either. This was before the internet, and people were freaking different people back then. This was, you know, 1940s.
But they didn't have they didn't have a choice though.
Tyranny is alive.
I'm just saying, it wasn't like the government was like, you know what? At least we're skeptical of everybody. They were, but they were also like, you know what? This will save a lot of people's lives if we move some people around, because there's a bunch of people that are just going to get plain old killed in their neighborhoods, like killed in their houses.
Well, that's going to happen. So, you know, when shit finally hits the fan, it's going to happen.
Stuff in black and white and like sketching, you know.
So, but tyranny has been alive and well within our government for the last 50 years.
You keep calling it tyranny all the time, but we're battling a war, a world war.
I agree with that. I agree 200% with that. It ain't just from within; it's from without. And this country is in deep shit because of it.
Yep.
I don't want a revolution. What I want is a restoration.
A revolution's the only way you're going to get a restoration. I mean, you know, call me what you will, but I just call them the way I see them. Talking is not
based on what? Based on what? A government that's lasted through 2 world wars and a civil war. I agree with John. All you got to do is wash off the tyrants and go back at it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's kind of hard to do that when you've got the legal system and everything else working against you in their favor.
So you don't pick your battles. Welcome to war. You get better.
Well, I'll stop right there because I can see you and I'll go back and forth on this for hours.
G-Web will go back and forth on anything. G-Web will argue with a tree.
So, you know, I mean,
that's why
I'm not really, but I'm not going to stand by and listen to stuff where it's like, oh, it's not easy. Let's burn it down. That's not. What am I supposed to stand there and go, yeah, let's burn it down because it's not easy?
Well, check this out, guys. Check this out. We just sent $50 billion over to a country that's losing the war. Okay. Now, what do you think that they could have done with that $50 billion with ensuring that either one, we have a police officer in every single school in the United States, or 2, we were able to fortify schools, give them that money, you know, that we just gave the Ukrainians that we're not going to get back. Okay. We ain't getting that money back. Okay. That money is gone. You know, you ever lent money to a relative and you knew that you wasn't getting paid back? That's the same thing that's happening. Okay. They say that they want, you know, to make our kids safe. But when I was at the NRA convention, man, it was crazy because of the fact that we were inside saying, okay, well, how can we stop this? But you got protesters on the outside, paid protesters, that were beating us down, saying that we had no business being there, you know. And I'm like, you know what, if you want, and I'm like, hey, look, you know, that's your right to protest. Okay, you know what? That makes America cool. All right. My right is to bear arms. Now, what I'm also doing at this point is I'm trying to see how can we stop this? Because anybody in that convention center could have been affected by it. Okay. Anybody on this phone call right now could have been affected by it. Nobody was in that convention center laughing and hooting it up saying, hey, you know what? We're glad kids are dead. No, that wasn't going on. But that is what mainstream media will allow you to think. Because when I came into the convention center, okay, they look at me. I'm African American. What? Whoa! What's a black guy doing in the NRA convention? Okay, John will tell you I'm from the hood. Okay, but the one thing is this: I know I want my Second Amendment rights. I know that if I'm not protected, then I'm a sheep. And I'm not depending on any police department or the government to protect me. I'm going to protect myself.
Can I say one thing on that point? Sure. It does not make a fucking difference. Excuse my language. It does not make a difference if you're purple with green stripes. If you're an American, you've got those rights and they're yours to have. Exactly. They're yours to exercise. Doesn't make any difference if you're black or white. So, you know, although I get what you're saying, but you know, You see where I'm going with all this, right?
I see. But the thing is that they didn't really, they came at me, because I'm like, it's 10,000 folks in here, and I'm coming into the convention center, and they're looking at me, and they're like, oh man, they're running up to me like I'm somebody important. I may be important in my own mind, but hey, and but I can tell you this: the questions that they asked me, I can guarantee you I didn't answer them the way they wanted to. I've been in the military. I'm John will tell you, I'm prior NFL employee for 13 years. So I know how to conduct myself during an interview. And I know what questions that you're asking me and you're trying to bait and trying to see, okay, you're trying to get a particular answer. I'm not giving you that answer. I'm giving you the answer that I feel that is true. We're all here because of our Second Amendment rights. We're here because guess what? We all love guns. All right. So, and when I went to the convention, and I know the NRA has its issues. Hey, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that they don't. Okay. But I went there to see the guys that are on the ground, the salespeople, people trying to sell their product. I talked to them. But they came to me when I was coming in. They want to actually say, well, why are you here? And what do you think about the protesters across the street? I'm like, that's their right to do that. I mean, I wouldn't be out there in the hot ass sun doing that. But hey, they want to do that. They can do that. You know? But the main thing is that their logic is off, because I always tell anybody this. Okay, so let's say we do gun control. What if that doesn't happen? This is the question that nobody can ever answer. What if that doesn't work? What's your next move? Well,
they want it
to happen. No, it doesn't have to happen. It can fail and it will fail. But what's your next move? And then what's your next move after that move? That's what I want.
Valid questions.
And so the thing is that that's the question that nobody ever can answer that is anti-gun. They can't ever answer that question. So my thing is this. Say again.
Well, if I said, of course they can't answer that question.
Right. And they don't want to answer it because they don't know the answer.
If you're talking to a typical person on the other side that's interested in gun control as an option, it's probably because they haven't looked into it at all. And if they're only dependent on what's fed to them, we can't expect the other side to educate them into our perspective on this or our position on this. So that's why I'm optimistic. I've been paying attention to this since my whole life, to some extent. And then since '94, when we got the expiration of the assault weapons ban without any argument. So the assault weapons ban ended in 2004. Everybody just looks back at that black and white, just facts. But, that happened without any argument. That's what they say. But really, that happened with a lot of struggle so that there wasn't any argument. So I've been in this for a while. And that argument since the 90s, when we started to get attacked as gun owners, persecuted and marginalized as gun owners, persecuted for our property, doesn't really matter the reason why, but we all know the reason why. An unarmed populace is easier to deal with, but it doesn't even matter. We've been dealing with the infringements and the issues since the middle of the 60s and into the 90s. And then it ended when we basically sent them all home, and they realized that we had enough, that you couldn't
send them all home
more. So what I've seen since then, since I've been online since 2004-ish, paying attention to guns specifically, is the evolution has changed. It started to change in 2013, and it's changed dramatically. And it changed because we don't just say my property, my rights anymore. We educate, we understand what the other side is, because we, gun owners, are both sides. Gun owning is not a political situation. So now gun owners from both sides of the political spectrum have come together and developed the responses and the positions. And that education is making it to where it's at a standstill today. It's certainly not because they're scared of people saying my rights. They're not scared of that at all. They're stopping because they're understanding that it's our rights.
Exactly. Now, also, I got two questions. One, why do they never bring up the sunset clause of the Clinton gun assault weapons ban? They never seem to
add it to anything else anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. Why? Because it worked. Like, because it worked too good for us, the free people, like the people that aren't abused by that anymore.
It is always like that. A half of everything. Like when I'm giving my concealed weapons classes, and I'm reciting the Second Amendment. A lot of people, they're like, "Oh, we didn't know it was a second part." I'm like, "Yeah, it is. The right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed." And I say, so if we break that down, what does that mean to you? And they say, well, that means that you can't change anything because this is in stone right here. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Okay. Now, another thing on the whole other end of the spectrum. Now, what I want to know is, who does Joe Biden have informing? Because we know Joe Biden's not a gun guy. Okay. So who does Joe Biden have him informing him about a 9mm can explode out of your chest if it hits your lungs?
Beto O'Rourke.
No, I think this every time he opens his mouth, like just shit spews out.
But he's got to get that from somewhere.
I mean, dude, the dude doesn't know where he is most of the time. He got lost, and the Easter Bunny had to help him on the freaking lawn of the White House.
True.
But this guy's the most popular president in history. 80 million people voted for him.
My thing is this.
So when you watch his stuff complete, you watch it live, he'll sit there being normal, and then he'll take a moment, he'll breathe, and then he'll do something weird, and then he'll go back to being normal again. And then all you see coverage is the coverage on the right is the weird thing he did. And you don't see any of the other stuff. And it's just as easy for them to edit out the weird thing he did. So you're going to talk, where did they come up with that specific thing? Like, it could be a mistake, or these are people that went to school to know how to manipulate people. They seriously need to manipulate people. They did it when he was standing in front of a helicopter, so it would be the horrible audio, and everybody would think it's they got a jump on it. And this guy's been an actor a politician his entire life. He can do anything.
Same thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He can do anything he wants on cue. Is it more likely that somebody who's done anything his entire life on cue is playing the whole world like a giant thing, or he's just literally accidentally saying the most stupid thing at the precise time when it distracts from other things like millions of dollars going to places? I refuse to just how can you have a tinfoil hat and then suggest that this guy's an imbecile? Oh, everything is working against us. It's a machine working against us. And then this guy just happens to be an imbecile. Maybe
I don't think he's in charge.
Doesn't matter, really. I mean, we're sitting here talking about it, and there's other stuff happening.
His voice is being heard, though, whether he's in charge or not. It's
a distraction. When you say, how can he say, is that about 9mm? It's possible that he just literally doesn't care at all, right? The president doesn't even care at all about what he's saying, or a guy who spent his entire life saying exactly what's going to piss people off, and he wins every time he pisses gun owners off. You know that. So every time he pisses us off, he wins, and every time he pisses us off, he wins on the other side. So the guy who's done that his entire life accidentally messes up just at a great time, or everybody's paying attention to what he precisely wants us to pay attention to.
Well, no, I mean, I don't get pissed off. I just think it's comical. Some of the stuff he says.
I don't get pissed off.
I don't get pissed off either. All I can do is laugh at the guy. But it's not funny what's happening to us because he is where he is. And with that, I'm gonna duck on out of here. John Crump, is it?
Yes.
I'm going to sub you and give you a thumbs up on the way out. Hopefully I'll get to see you again. I've got another stream that I was headed to and was killing a minute and happened to run across yours.
Well, thank you for coming on. I'm not sure which channel you're watching me on, but I got a couple.
What I got here, John Crump News.
Yeah, that's my main channel.
Okay. All right, then. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day. Good weekend when you get to it.
All right, thank you. No, but I understand what you're saying, G-Webs. I do. And I work behind the scenes a lot. and it's sometimes it just I don't know, man. It just gets hard. Like, that's why I like GOA. Like because I work for them, but I was on the call recently at like 1 o'clock in the morning working with some of the lobbyists from GOA on stuff to present the next day. People don't realize like how much behind the scenes stuff is going on, and how much of the stuff is an act. People actually think that laws are written by lawmakers. It's not. It's written by special interest on both sides. I've been a part of that process. So it's something that people don't realize.
I'm just trying to figure out why hasn't anyone publicly fact checked him on any of the craziness that he spews out regarding
Newsweek did. I will say Newsweek definitely did on the Canon stuff
because it's fallen on deaf ears, right? Like, oh, 9mm really only does this to a lung. Like, you know what I mean? Like the damage has been done, right? By saying it like that, it's just like a bad headline, and then they retract it 6 weeks later on the back of the magazine.
Yeah, but Newsweek, I'll show you right here.
I think that's the tetherball. That's the fireworks, right? Like, because he doesn't want to get up there and go, we've been taking a look at it, and our own studies indicate that, prohibition of firearms is like the least effective way of solving any of these issues. What we really should be doing is putting a lot of money towards developing the communities that each of these are coming from. Each of these killers have come from, right? He's not going to say that because he doesn't want to solve nothing. He wants to keep playing tetherball, and he doesn't want to send the tetherball back. He wants to send it back in a way that gets fireworks, right?
Well, do you know he once said, before he ran for president, or before he was like Barack Obama's vice president, that background checks are ineffective? But he has changed his mind since.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's like this. If they don't want to, you know what? I don't even think seriously deep down that they really, really want gun control, because, okay, what if everything is fixed? Okay. What do you have to run on it? What's your value now? This thing, I can't remember who said this, but this thing is like a circle. Is going, and if you look at the history of the United States, going back to maybe the 60s, 70s, all right, it's all a big circle.
Farther than that. It runs on like 20-year cycles.
It's in a circle. Just like, okay, the gun thing, that the bill that they're proposing right now. Okay, you know what? More than likely, they're saying now is gonna be shot dead. And I was laughing the other day when I was looking at AOC when they asked her, was she endorsing Joe Biden? She didn't answer. I said, "Ooh, they didn't think that was gonna happen." I'm sure that. And I'm like, man, they don't want Joe Biden. They're at the point where now they're like, man, you know what? We don't need Joe Biden. We need somebody else. That makes the Republican Party more stronger, because if, think about this. If Trump runs, if we got DeSantis running, you got two strong, viable candidates right there. Who do they have? They went to Joe Biden because they didn't have anybody. Remember now.
Well, Elon Musk is now backing DeSantis.
He was like the best of the what they had left, right? So I figured they're using Biden to let's see if it works with Biden. Let's see if it works with Biden. Let's see if we can get it through under this, because they don't care if they wear him out.
He was the worst candidate they had.
Well, they thought that, you know what, if we hire Biden, people will still remember him and Obama together. And man, maybe that. And then, you know what, let's top it off with putting a black female in as a vice president. And that's the key thing there. That we've got it. And
so you think they're playing identity politics?
Well, what the chickens are coming home to roost now. Okay, if you look at it, you got that guy. Okay, you was only going to play smoke and mirrors for so long. I got buddies of mine that are strict Democrats, but they're in the health field. And I said, judging by what you see on Joe Biden, what do you think his cognizant level is? It says very low, if any. And I'm like, so you want a person that is half brain dead or all brain dead leading your country? You know, it's an amazing thing that think about this, man. I'm surprised we haven't had terror attacks going on with what was left over of ISIS and Al Qaeda and everything, because technically right now we're at the weakest that we've ever been since I can almost say I was alive, or at least since maybe the Carter administration.
Oh no, I think forever. I think forever. Like we've always been way more stronger than we are now. Like that,
right?
That in that way, yeah.
So thinking about it like this, it's amazing. You don't hear about COVID anymore. You don't hear about terrorist attacks anymore. What happened to all this stuff that was going on? That we were afraid of so many years, and now boom, it's gone. Boom.
It's all a method of control.
Yeah.
Right, to keep everybody's head spinning so that you don't retain it long enough to be able to focus on it or something. It's some tactic.
You got something, one other thing leading into another thing, to another thing, to another thing. Okay, but if you sit back and you turn around and look behind you, say, well, what happened to all the other stuff that was? I see the gun thing. We're gonna have mass shootings across the United States, no matter what. Okay, that's something that, you know what, the best way to deal with that is to go out there, get your gun, and get trained. Okay, that's the best way to handle a mass shooting, because anywhere, I told the sheriff here in Jacksonville, I said, look, the two things that mass shootings have in common: one, of course, the shooter; two, they're always going to be in areas where they are least likely to have resistance.
94% of the time.
Yeah. So I'm like, I say, hey, you know what? I go to the NRA convention at least every other year, and I carry my gun on me in there this year. And I said, you never had a mass shooting in there. You want to know why? Because if they did, that person's time of living is probably going to be within seconds. Okay, they'll be dead. Okay, but I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know about guns or whatever. So that's what I get shooed off as. Okay, well, you just don't know what you're talking about. You love guns and you can't hear anything else. No, I know fact, and the fact speaks for what I'm seeing in front of me. But it was crazy. Now I will tell you guys this. I'm not sure if you guys were down in Houston, but USCCA threw I guess like a mixer, after hours mixer type thing at this restaurant about maybe a half a mile away from where the NRA convention was. Those same people that were protesting across the street left their little protest boards right where they were, walked down to the restaurant where we all at. They didn't say not one word to us. It was clear that you knew who we were, because everybody had their NRA little things around their neck. And so it wasn't, and they had, some guys had, Second Amendment, blah, 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 this and that. They didn't say not one thing to us when we were in there. Not one.
And then they also didn't leave. So it shows how they're not really afraid.
Well, I'm not saying that they were afraid, at this point, because,
well, I'm just saying that they're saying that they're so worried about people with guns or whatever. It's not like they were so worried.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying now. Yeah, exactly. Y'all, you're not afraid of us when we're sitting in there, eating, listening to music, because they had a country band in there. We're all eating together. I mean, we're all mixed in with each other. James Yeager was there. I mean, everybody's kind of mixed in with the same folks that were out there protesting. Not one person said anything out of line, because it's easy to bark for a dog to bark behind a fence, but you bring a bigger dog in that same yard with that dog, he gonna shut up. He gonna cower. Okay, so you're yapping and everything, out in the streets, blah blah blah. And I said, hey, look, you know what? Me and American Gun Chick were, and her and Joe were together, and we were like, man, I'm not worried about them. I'll walk right through them. Now, the one thing that you're not gonna do, you can say anything you want to, but the minute that you put your hands on me, then you got an issue there. I said, hey, they can do whatever they want to. They can say whatever they want to. They don't know me, They don't know where I'm come from. They don't know what I represent. So the words really fell on deaf ears. But the main thing is this: the way I looked at it is that they had every chance that they wanted to say something. If they wanted to say something, they had every chance to say it at that point in that restaurant. It's called Rustic. Okay. Nobody said it. It was quiet as a church mouse in there. Nobody said anything. And we all got along. We all ate, drank, had a good time. Hey, see y'all tomorrow at the convention center. And that was it. That was it.
Yep. That's the way it usually works.
It reminds me of is it the coyote and the dog, and they punch out or whatever, and they're friends?
Yes, the Warner Brothers cartoon. Yes, exactly.
The hell are you talking about?
John,
there was this cartoon where the dog was guarding the sheep, and the coyote was trying to get the sheep all the time, and then at the end of the day, they would just punch out and go home.
I have no idea.
John, come on now, Crump. Really? You don't know? That's Warner Brothers. The same coyote that used to chase the Road Runner.
Yeah,
the coyote.
I couldn't remember. There's no Road Runner in it. It's just him and the dog, I guess.
Exactly.
What dog?
And that same Wile E. Coyote was
some big dog that watches these sheep. It's a separate thing than the Road Runner.
Right, but I think it was the same coyote though.
Yeah. I just don't. Yeah. I don't know. It never had a movie, I guess. I don't know. I thought everybody had seen it.
Yeah, I saw that. Because the dog was big as hell, but you could never see his eyes.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like it's just like the Roadrunner, except in a different way, I guess.
Right.
Okay, well, I looked it up. I looked up on Google Images.
It don't ring a bell though.
No.
Okay.
Damn.
It was Saturday morning stuff. I mean, we've probably seen it a zillion times.
You guys keep continue talking to my wife.
Yeah, so but
I know there's a back and forth, and there's this tether ball. I call it like a tether ball because you got to have two players in it, and both sides are making money, and both sides want it to keep going, right? But I think, like I say, the reason I'm still optimistic, and I wouldn't be bothering, I wouldn't be paying attention to this stuff if it was a no-win scenario. I would have quit, right? But like I said, when they came at us in 2013, I was in SHOT Show when that came down. And that happened during SHOT Show, and they brought these giant TV screens in, and everybody went quiet, and everybody watched it. The Obama's 23 executive actions, and then SHOT Show was like kind of different, right? And then the industry couldn't do nothing. It's not like anybody said, "Hey, let's solve this." It's just that it got solved, and it changed then because a bunch of organizations started up. I think what happened was we kind of resisted it, as the way I'd say it. By just not standing for it. Everybody contacted representatives. I can't say I know what did it, but I know that it happened, right? I mean, it wasn't one thing that did it. But the result of that, I think, was there was about a year of everybody kind of looking stunned at each other. And then everyone realizing that the big organizations were just like, okay. And then kind of everybody went back at it. And that's when you see all these different organizations start up in 2015 and all over the place, starting up to focus on individuals or areas of interest or regions or everything, like all these organizations. And it was because of the internet, and people had knew that they didn't need to wait around anymore for an organization to adapt to them, that they would just do their own. And I think the 2013 kind of whiplash for all the gun owners created the potential for that. And that's why I could say what we're seeing as a result now, because that was 2015. This is 7 years later. They've all had a chance to create, let's say, curriculum or kind of get their positions down. And they've had small battles, right? We've had things like the bump stock ban and the frustration with the Hearing Protection Act and the national reciprocity all kind of ended. We've seen some fits and starts at people getting together, but this is the first time we've had something that basically offended so many gun owners all at the same time. And basically by just saying, by buying a gun, you've offended us. Like by buying a gun, you've become one of them. And for a bunch of gun owners, they're already, they weren't one of us or them. They were just people that bought a gun. And now they're being told for the first time, us or them. So there's a little bit of the like figuring it out, but it's not being met with, yeah, you have to either be us or them. Because what they're when they look around, they're going to find all this nuanced position and all these different places they can find to get more informed. And when all these individuals think of, I don't agree with it, but these millions of new gun owners that happened in the last few years, I'm still skeptical about that or not. But these new gun owners, if they do exist, and they just got told by a whole bunch of people, their friends really, that because they bought guns, there's something wrong with them. Well, they're going to have conversations. They're not jumping to the binary, like us, them, you know what I mean? They're friends with each other. So they're going to have conversations and they're going to thrash things out. And how often do you hear about a gun owner going, you know what, I hate guns? Unless there's like a traumatic situation that they don't address, their own mentally, then, you know what I'm saying? Like a reaction to a trauma. No one really sits down and looks at it and does the math and figure out like, no, tyranny's better, really. It's better to only the police should have guns. Like nobody ever comes up with that conclusion. So what I'm really thinking is this is a big distraction from all kinds of other things, oil and the economy and the healthcare and the border and drugs and, oh my goodness, everything. So this is going to move just like everything else. They're going to see that they're not gaining, they're not getting enough attention. It didn't distract enough. They're going to keep moving. Something else will happen before too long. And all these gun owners the gun owners' rights groups that had their first chance to really show up are going to see that the NRA is ineffective and that the other organizations are still doing whatever they're good at, lobbying or court cases or whatever. And that gives those other organizations some experience and some motivation and some skin in the game. So they're around now. They've been through more than one battle. They're never going to fail. They're going to just get larger. And now that people are figuring out that I don't have to choose this organization or that, I can be a member of 6 organizations if I want. If I want to support the entire nuance that I have of my opinion of guns in the community, I can support that with 6 different organizations now, instead of being frustrated that my $30 to one organization isn't as faceted as I want it to be. And that's what we're going to see in about a year and a half now, is wait for that to happen. And that's where I'm still optimistic. We're going to get rid of the NFA. They're going to figure out the background checks are boring. They're going to figure out, as soon as that happens, the antis are going to figure out that there's other things to be anti. Like, they can be anti-cars. As soon as robot cars happen, they're going to be anti-robot cars.
Right? On to the next thing.
Now, but they're going to hate them.
You think that they're anti just because they need to be anti something? Yes. It doesn't matter what it is?
Because it's either makes them money or they're just...
There you go. No. Let's just say keep it what it is. It makes money.
Right. They're willing to make money making people mad at each other, right? I don't know if they necessarily care, but they're willing to make money that way.
Think about this. The NRA will never be dissolved. You want to know why? Because they are still a viable entity to raise money. Okay. So guess who's going to ensure that the NRA is still out there? The politicians. Okay. They're going to make, because without the NRA, it's like, okay, well, man, we're missing a chunk of that money, that those campaign funds that we need, those kickbacks, we're missing a lot of that. So you got to understand that, there's a reason why the cure for cancer hasn't been brought out, but we can cure the world's most deadly virus in how many months was it? 6 months? They came out with a vaccine
out of nowhere.
with COVID. And I'm like, how the hell you come up with a vaccine that damn fast? But you can't cure the cold. Okay. You can't cure the flu, but you got a vaccine for COVID, which now we know wasn't worth the price of the wrapper that it was wrapped in, but it's money. We the local the average guy Americans are the pawns. The big wigs, they go back and forth. Okay. Think about it like this. Gun manufacturers, do you think it's bad business for gun manufacturers if everything is going fine? It was bad business for them when Trump was in office. They're making money.
I hear that, but I don't agree with it. I mean, I've heard that argument before, and it has applied in the past, but I don't agree with it now because we've got so many of these new gun owners and so many new people in the sports shooting. They dig it when people are into sports shooting and couples go out on date nights at the range and kids are.
They're not saying that that's all of the money. And I was just saying hey, you know what? That's on top of everything that they would have gotten anyway. But now with these new gun owners, I'm very skeptical about them because keep in mind, what made these new gunners become new gunners? They didn't just become new gun owners because, hey, you know what? They looked and said, man, you know what? I would love to learn the art of shoot. That isn't it.
I care so much about my rights and your rights also.
Exactly. So they came in because there were world events going on, and the majority of them were scared. Also, think about it like this. When you got mass shootings, guess what? Guess who profits out for that? Me. Because guess what? Then my schedule becomes ultra full with people trying to learn to get their concealed weapons license and learning and doing the instruction part. And I ask them, why did you come now? Oh, well, because this thing happened. I don't think that those new gun owners are here to stay. I believe that they're just here temporarily at some point, and they don't help the gun industry. Remember that too. They're not here to help the gun industry, even though they made those very few of those, maybe 5 to 10%, I would say. But the majority of them, of the new gun owners, only came over because there was something that happened and they felt that they were scared. Okay, I got guns in my safe. What I'm scared, I'm not scared, but whatever happens in America, guess what? I'm buying new guns, but not because I'm afraid of what's going on in the world, but I'm an avid gun lover. Okay, you got to have it in your heart, to just be out there and just to go purchase guns, when nothing is going wrong. A lot of people, those new people, thought that, hey, you know what, something's going on or wrong with America or the world, and I need to protect myself. Okay, well, what happens when everything is cool and the economy is good, and what happens then? Do you still go out there and train? No, they're not going to go out there and train.
I do.
Well, I agree with you 100%, except that some of them will. So we're going to get some
residuals. Yeah, we're going to see some.
And then the silver lining or the bright side of that too is that I don't disagree with you, but there's been a whole bunch of gun owners who've been, I'm going to call them like big brothers and big sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I had to cough. Big brothers and big sisters without anybody to mentor. So all these new gun owners came along and they had this opportunity because, like you say, everybody all of a sudden had this interest in self-defense and concern.
Yeah.
So a bunch of people had this opportunity, and when you get that, scratch that itch, and when you've had a chance to teach and to share your knowledge, number one, you're sharing it with your friends. So that's why I think some of them are going to stick around. They're going to understand that there's more to guns than just the talisman or the whatever, because most of these people bought them, and some of them are going to train, but most of them bought them and think, okay, I got my gun, I got my toilet paper, I've got my extra water, I'm done. I've accomplished my goals. But the people that get that extra, and then I guess what I'm saying is the people that gave them that chance to coach or whatever, I don't know what the measure is there, how many. I'm not saying it's a bunch. I'm just saying it's another silver lining in it, because I agree with you that if there are new gun owners, because I don't agree there's new gun owners. All they did is look at 4473s, and in states with universal background checks, if a grandpa wanted to give a shotgun to each of his 4 granddaughters, that's for 4473s, and that's not one brand new gun owner in the mix. That's just redistributing some guns, right? And if they're just counting 4473s, then I'm skeptical about how many new gun owners there were. But I agree with you that the new ones were just like, I need to buy a gun, I need to buy toilet paper, I need water. It was just another thing on their list. But the some of them that stick around, and I guess I'm saying the gold silver lining is the gun owners that get a chance to be mentors now, because a bunch of people, again, I'm looking at this from being a gun owner my whole life, going online and sharing gun stuff online, and then watching that evolve over the years. A lot of people sit in an observer role and they go, oh, I'm watching and I'm learning, and now I got my gun, but I'm an observer, I'm just watching. But now when their friend goes, hey, you know about guns, can you tell me about guns? Now all of a sudden they become a level up, right? Now I know more than my friend, and I'm able to help my friend. And I do know, oh, I am a gun owner. Oh, I can buy more. And that, I don't know how big that's going to be, or how big a factor or whatever, how many people, but there's that is going to be a factor.
Well, I took a bunch of people shooting the other week who've never been shooting before, and now they all have range memberships, and one guy now owns like 7 guns.
Oh,
his wife doesn't know.
You're talking about the range that I can't remember the name of, but you're that one that's...
Yeah, I took a couple of people shooting. I got one of the private lanes, and we went in there, and, you know.
You know, what you'd have to do back when I was a kid to go shooting is tolerate, like, some Sanford and Son shit. Like, you'd have to go hang out in some guy's, like, quarry and shoot, right? And some people would not do that. There was no running water, you know what I mean? Like, it was no bathrooms kind of thing. And some people, you know, when they go to a country club and they get to experience all that, like, that's a whole nother level of gun ownership, that, or at least a realm of gun ownership that we never, or what's the word, like spectrum of gun ownership that we never had back in the day.
Yeah, we went and shot. Then we went to the restaurant that's in there. Then we went to the bar that's in there and just hung out after. And we didn't shoot after we went to the bar, of course. But, you know, we shot. Then we went to the restaurant and the bar that's actually part of that range. And it really, really, like, solidified them, because I got to look around and see, well, these people aren't like the yokels I thought they were going to be.
Now, he was right. I do believe that every red-blooded gun owner needs to pick one person out in their friends list and say, hey, you know what? Be a mentor of them. Now, as a instructor, I do that automatically. Okay, I mentor anybody. One thing with anybody that when the last thing they hear from me is, hey, look, I tell them, you do not have to suffer in silence. If you got any questions, if you hear anything on the news and you got a question about it, don't sit there and wander. Call me. One thing now, I tell them also, if you only want to know the truth and the facts, you know, you call me. But if you're not looking for the truth or facts, don't call me, because I'm going to give it to you. Okay, whether you want to hear it or not, I'm going to give it to you. You know, and there's a lot of times where people don't really even understand the fact that, hey, you know what? You can actually own a gun. You don't have to get a concealed weapons license to carry it. It's a privilege, you know. I'm sorry, it's a right, not a privilege. So, you know, the main thing is that I said you driving is a privilege, but your Second Amendment is a right. As long as you're an American and you haven't broken any laws that will prevent you from owning a gun, then guess what? You can own a gun. You know, you can actually keep it in your home. You know, now it is advised, you know, if you live in a state that requires a concealed weapons license, for you to get that concealed weapons license, because optimal protection is in and out of the house. But the main thing is this: you do not have to have a concealed weapons license to be a gun owner. That's what makes America great. You know, we're the only country in the world, I believe, that has anything that close to the Second Amendment.
No, Poland does.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they just passed it.
Oh, so they just passed it. Okay, so
About a year, probably less than G-Webs. You might be able to correct me on this. About less than a year
I don't
ago.
keep track of them, but there was a book that came out. I think Second Amendment Foundation. Either they were involved with publishing it or writing it, but I forget. But it was called something about the comparison of all the different countries. And this is like maybe, oh man, it was a while ago, like 14 or something. But ever since I knew that book was out, I never cared about remembering any of the other countries. But yeah, there are other countries that have better gun laws than us, but they're typically countries that no one will ever pay attention to because they're also like in the Middle East and stuff where like there's just countries where there are no gun laws. So it's kind of like they don't really have laws, so they're better than us, I guess. But
well, you have Switzerland.
I don't know. I know there's a bunch that are, we're kind of in the middle of everything. It's just that when the antis want to use numbers against us, they say, oh, we can't count third world, or we can't count Mexico. Like they can't count countries that don't make their point, right?
Yeah, Switzerland gives you a gun.
I don't know if they still do that, but yeah, for a long time they did. And then you had to have it in your house, right?
Yeah. There used to be a law where you used to have a gun.
They stopped doing it, but just recently they stopped doing it like a while ago. But yeah.
Well, look at Kennesaw, Georgia. It's a law there that if you're a resident of Kennesaw, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta and basically North Atlanta, you are mandated to own a gun in your home.
And crime went down, right?
Crime went down. I'm like, hell, you ain't got to tell me twice. You know, you don't have to tell me twice to get a gun, you know, hey. But again, even when the riots happened and COVID happened and all of that, you know, you had people that were running haywire saying, oh, woe is me. What's gonna go? You know, everything is going crazy. The world is ending. Guess who was sitting in their living room with their foot up, looking at the TV with a remote in their hand, and my AR-15 was about maybe 2 feet away from me.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about a damn thing.
Yeah, this is a Swiss pantry. That's the rifle that the government gives.
Oh, wow.
I think we had a guy on a live chat one time who was from Switzerland, and it was something like his grandpa still had his World War II gun, and then his dad had his gun from like, you know, let's say the Cold War era, and then he had his gun, and then so they had all three in the house, or he had all three because his grandpa didn't want it or something. But yeah, for that, when they did that, like until you were 45 or something, you were expected to go grab your rifle, right?
Yeah, they gave you a ammunition allowance, so they gave you so many rounds of ammunition a year and your rifle.
Imagine America being what happened when the Ukrainians were giving out those AK-47s, trying to teach people how to shoot. I'm like, man, this is gonna be a freaking slaughter. That's like the NFL playing in the Florida School of Deaf and Blind. I'm like, this isn't gonna work. This is gonna be a shit show. Excuse my French, but I'm like, and I'm looking at the people, and I'm like, oh Lord. I said, man, if I had to instruct those folks, man, I would just give up and just walk away, because I'm like trying to get those people, that many people, ready for a war. A war, you get, first and foremost, war, having a gun is just a small part. You got to have the mentality. You know, you have to have that in your head that, hey, you know what? I am going to kill somebody because they're trying to kill me. A lot of people don't have that.
Well, people don't have it because they got to go over there and stand in line and then say all that and do it. But when it comes to them and it's, you know, grandma and their grandchildren behind her, you give her a gun and she's killing people. You know what I mean? Like when it's in her doorstep. So it's a little different when they're, I don't know. You know.
What I meant was not saying that the heart isn't there, okay? But
yeah, okay, she's not going to just know how to work an AK and then know what to do when it fails or her finger gets stuck in it or something. Yeah,
right. You know, okay, you got
finger gets stuck in it.
A professional Russian.
Everybody knows how to work an AK when it works good, but get your finger stuck in it, like literally get your pinkies jammed in there and see how well you work an AK.
I've never got my pinkies jammed in an AK.
No, you haven't, and that's what I'm saying. You don't get to just stand there normally.
Yeah, how do you work a malfunction? Tell grandma to do that, and tell grandma to low crawl and all of that sort of, or dig a damn trench or a foxhole. That ain't happening, So I'm like, yeah, this is going. I'm like, okay, how long is Russia giving these folks till they just going? And we see now, okay, the war is pretty much coming to an end. Russia's the winner. We already knew Russia was going to win. Okay, as long as no other countries were willing to go ahead and put boots on the ground, Ukraine's going to get their butt whooped. Okay, all right. Hey, you know what? Shit happens. Okay, but also, I would never ever. I tell my friends, I'm like, hey, look, how many of you all would be willing to go out there if somebody threw you a M16 in your hand or an M4 or whatever, and you go out there and fight? First and foremost, would you even have the ability to do so? Your fitness level, is it there? Okay. Your mental capacity, is it there? I train people every week on handgun. And guess what? When I'm training them, I put them through stress exercise. And guess what? They all fail. They all fail because they're not used to dealing with the type of stress. It's easy to go out to a shooting range and shoot paper, okay, on a nice sunny day in Florida, the wind's blowing, everything is cool, okay? It's different when it's at nighttime. You got bullets coming past your ear, okay? Your breathing level is up. You're breathing like maybe you're 160, 70, 180 breaths a minute, beat rate a minute, beats per minute.
Wearing like 100 pounds worth of shit that's got you all bent over and you can never sit down.
Right.
On top of something all the time.
It's not gonna happen. And I tell people, I'm like, look, I just taught you, and anybody that's trained under me, they will tell you this. I always end the training saying, hey, I just taught you just enough to be dangerous. Okay. You are not John Wick. Do not go out there thinking you're John Wick. You need practice and more practice. Okay.
Well, what happens if your student's Keanu Reeves?
Well, if he's Keanu Reeves, then that's a whole different thing there. I doubt he would be. I doubt he would be taking my beginning pistol class. But I also look at other instructors and I'm like, man, like when you're a beginning pistol instructor, you got to deal with a whole bunch of shit that normal instructors don't have to deal with. Like, okay, how much ammo you got? Do you even have a damn holster? Do you have a competent enough weapon that might not jam up? You got to deal with all that kind of crap. You got to deal with people not knowing how to line up the sights, and they don't know their muzzle discipline or trigger finger discipline. You got to teach all that kind of stuff. Hell, I wish I had a damn class where everybody knew that, and all we were doing is drills.
I like the Black Hawk Serper holster myself.
I mean, if they bring something like that, I'm happy that they did that. Versus the beginning pistol owner or handgun owner, they ain't went through the rigmarole of, okay, you know what, should I get a Safari Land? They'd never even heard of Safari Land before. They never heard of Kydex holsters. The only thing that they know is get a gun, pull the trigger, and shoot. That's the only thing that you got to teach them all of that in a reasonable amount of time, okay? Because you got to keep their mind interested in the class, okay? And trust me, I wish I was, Reed Hendricks or James Jaeger or Scott Jeslinski, where everybody in my class has, upteen hundreds of rounds. They got the best equipment to wear. They got tactical belts and all. Man, if my life would be so much easier. The majority of my frustration when it comes to teaching new people is the frustration of them, like, it's like if you're a little league coach, but you're a former NFL coach, but now you're teaching little league, and you got to worry about kids pooping in their pants and falling asleep, and doing the team meet.
Imagine if you say something and it offends them. Yeah. Like, oh, I picked the wrong thing. Like, oh, and then now it's like, oh, I didn't like that instructor so much, or I have a problem with his training, and blah blah blah. Like, you got to be aware of that. Like,
man, you know what? You hit the nail on the head on that. I had a young lady where in my class, after every empty magazine, there's a requirement that I have that you look at your muzzle. Okay, I'm sorry, your barrel. You lock that slide back, you look in your magazine well, and you verify that there is nothing in there. And once you verify it, hey, you have to give me a loud, audible, clear. Lady said, well, I'm not telling you anything. I was so taken aback by that.
What?
Yes.
How does that make any sense?
Yeah, I'm not saying anything because she was already mad because of the fact that she wasn't hitting the target just like I instructed to. She was, everybody else was hitting the target fine, but, you're the one that's being singled out. So now I'm having to, that's why I don't like doing a lot of big classes with new gun owners, because of the fact that you're always going to have one or two that can't hit the broadside of a damn barn from 2 feet away. Okay. You got to work with those folks. You got to try to find out what gets them rolling, what gets them motivated. And for me, I'm a prior Army guy. So what motivates me is, hey, you know what? Come on, let's go. Not sitting there having somebody think about what they're doing and all of that. So you got to be a psychiatrist also.
It's like riding a bicycle. You ain't going to think about riding a bicycle. You're going to freaking ride the bicycle.
Exactly. So, but if you say it in the wrong term, keep in mind you're on a gun range, and so you're sort of, your voice level is elevated, okay? Because guess what? You got people on either side of you shooting, okay, behind you or in front of you or whatever. Now you got to deal with all of that, and now you got to deal with somebody who's disgruntled because they're frustrated because they're not able to do what you're instructing them to do. And now you got to slow it down even more. Thank God that I have now from Mil-Spec Mojo, he taught this. Whereas, hey, if you can't find your sights, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a magazine on top of that rear sight. I want you to move that gun until you see that front sight through that rear sight. And after that, oh, wow, there it is. Okay, and then after that, you take the magazine off. Now, see that bullseye on there? Put the front sight on the bullseye and squeeze your trigger.
You're saying like on top to make it like a channel, like they're looking through the rear sight. I got you.
Can I show you guys something?
Yeah, that's cool.
Check this out. I'm gonna go put it up on stream from Alibaba. A P80 from China, knockoff.
Wow.
But this is going to get someone in trouble because you notice something that it has.
What's that?
Holes drilled.
Oh, all pre-drilled holes. Uh-oh.
No tabs.
Well, you know what they'll start doing? They'll start enforcing that to where it won't even be able to come over in the country.
No, that's going to get someone in trouble because that's a...
But you can 3D print them anyway right now. I mean,
you can 3D print them. So why would you import them? But I guess people could import.
Well, they may have people like me that I'm not mechanically inclined, I must say.
Yeah, but once those holes drilled and there's no tabs,
yeah,
ATF considers that a firearm.
Yeah, it could be an issue. Yep.
And there's a few on like AliExpress
But see, they're not worried about that right there because
They're in China.
that's the fact that they're not. I'm not gonna say it's probably on their radar, but it's probably so far down. It's like pick your battles. Okay, all right. At some point, it'll probably come up, but I can't imagine a lot of people buying those Chinese, Alibaba, 80%ers,
Yeah. This is from the Fun Toy Company here. Let me just
But John, I'm gonna tell you, I would love to know the percentage of arrests made or shootings that came from an 80% handgun. I would love. I can't find that anywhere.
Well, you can't because they don't separate like 80%, 80%ers and guns that had their serial number filed off.
And then what about if you get an 80%er and you put a slide on it and then you run around just like if it was a squirt gun robbing people? Is that still a gun crime? Is that still a crime with an 80%er? I mean, it's still a crime. I know that, but I'm saying, do they count it as a gun crime still?
I don't know, but I know NBC, when they did their story on 80%ers, one of the guns that they had at the crime scene still had the tabs. And they're talking about, it's like a crime scene gun. It's like, wait a minute.
Well, because
there's no holes.
If you're talking violent crime versus gun crime, somebody can be standing there, they stop and frisk, go, oh, you got a gun in your pocket. That's a gun crime. Now there's a gun crime, and that person was just standing there.
Yeah, it didn't have a slide on or anything. It was just a P80 that somebody threw in the street, and then they added like police lights.
Ghost guns don't need slides.
Apparently, maybe that's what makes them ghosts, because the slides are invisible.
I mean, every time I look at when down here in Florida where they have like a picture of the gun that somebody, maybe some criminal has been caught, and they had the little evidence photo where they have the gun. I've never seen a P80 gun in any of those photos.
I always see skies and high points.
Skies, high points, and what's that other? Damn it! You were talking about it yesterday, man. I can't remember.
The Jimenez arms.
Jimenez. Yes. Jennings. Yeah, all of them too. Yeah.
Yeah, Jennings and Jimenez is the same.
Oh well, they're out of business now, right?
Yeah, they're out of business. Jimenez, the original guy, Bruce Jennings, not Bruce Jennings, Bruce Jennings. Yeah, he was busted for child porn.
Oh wow!
So the company sold to a guy named Jimenez.
When he sold Jennings, he was accused of something else. I'll put it in the side chat here. And then he was going to lose his FFL. Then years later, so basically George Jennings is Bruce Jennings is the son of George Jennings, who was Raven, right? So Bruce Jennings makes the Raven in 22 and then has this issue, loses his FFL. That's when it turns into Brico. Jennings becomes distributor of Brico. Brico is his son's name, and his wife takes over control of the company and renames Jennings into Brico. And then Brico gets sued for millions of dollars because a babysitter took out a loaded gun out of a drawer and played with it, and then shot the kid he was supposed to be babysitting. That kid is paralyzed. The parents sued. Well, the kid sued the Brico out of business. Then it became Jimenez, and then Jimenez became JA.
Yeah, and now they're shut down. They got the FFL revolt
for a while.
Speaking of guns and child porn, I saw the guy from what was it? Red. What was that show back in the day? Red Line or Red?
I don't know. You guys are older than me.
Yeah, the one from New Orleans.
Yeah. Come on, Trump. I mean, not Trump. Trump. That was just maybe what, 15 years ago. The owner got put in prison.
Oh, Red Jacket. Sons of Guns. Jacket. Oh my God, that was so screwed up.
Yeah, but I saw the guy, the blonde hair guy, the one that used to always have all the cool projects for the guns. He was at NRA.
Yeah.
Of course,
Flynn or whatever.
Yeah, of course not the owner. He's in prison for life, I believe.
Yeah, he ain't getting out. He has no possibility of parole.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I sat and talked to that guy. I can't remember his name, but Brickell introduced me to him, and we sat and talked for a little bit. But yeah, it was that was my favorite show though.
A.G. Webb's. Yes, you're right. That was his first charge. Was beating his wife. I'll say it right now. He got charged with domestic violence.
The later charge was way after he was not involved with the company anymore, and I just happened to know that because whenever I was collecting is when all that stuff came to light, like years later. And he's a total
then in 2013
horrible human being.
In 2013, he got caught with child porn. He was distributing it.
Damn. That means he was probably making money off of it.
Who knows?
What do you guys got?
Then it got sold to Paul Jimenez.
Okay.
So the company got sued because it was his wife at the time, or his ex-wife owned it. The company gets sued, and then the factory manager was Paul Jimenez. So it kind of stayed in the factory. Basically, it's the same people working there. It's just the different owners now.
Mm-hmm. Then Paul Jimenez got sued by a bunch of other people, and then they dissolved the company and started up JA Firearms, and then recently their FFL got revoked.
Right. Yeah, I tried to, because I did all that research and figured all that out, and I was like, the people aren't good people, right? Then there's another one from Lorson. That guy's an a-hole. Like, he was an a-hole in a different way. He wasn't a horrible person, but he was a criminal. He was an a-hole that way. And then there was another guy on the other side from the daughter's side who just was a scoundrel, I guess you'd say, because he kind of took somebody's ideas and copied it. So there was a couple of backstabbings and just horrible people involved there, but it was an interesting story. And since the gun itself had nothing to do with anything, it was just a design of a gun, right? It had been owned by Jimenez at the time, and that's when I tried to contact them and say, hey, I'm really interested in this and blah, blah, blah. But they were like, no, we don't have nothing to do with you. And then I was like, okay, well, whatever. I don't care. And then they basically hooked up with some other idiot, and that guy might have helped them sell guns, but he didn't help them from going out of business or nothing. He just watched.
Kioski come through. Joe was the guy you're thinking of, Rod.
Oh, Joe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, my chat, they're pretty smart people out there. They know their gun history.
Yeah. That Achilles, I didn't know what it was saying, but I know he was dressed as one of the Boogaloo Boys. He had a Hawaiian shirt on, and I think he had some shorts on and sandals.
Yeah, I think Achilles, they make don't they still make that, like, the 1022 kit? Could be wrong.
Not sure.
The ZK22. Let me look it up here. Yes, they do.
That was one of the firearm shows that I ever. Man, I would always look at that show.
Yeah, ZK22 here.
It made me think that those shows had to be pre-2012, right? Because wasn't it the end of 2012 when the Mayan calendar was supposed to end? And all those shows were on cable before then, because in 2012, all those shows, they said, nobody wants to watch those kind of shows anymore. So they took all those shows off TV.
Yeah. Uh,
I just know because
the
of
what
people were all
stopped all
kind of
those shows was Sandy Hook.
Nah, I don't
in
know about that
2000.
because basically, well, I mean, to some extent, but at that time, that's when FPS Russia was in the game side, and right into end of 2012, they talked all the YouTubers into joining networks. So the video game networks came over to grab all the gun people and turn them into stuff. So that's when everybody made a ton of money, dude. So I think if they, uh, I don't know, the networks would have been, well, they must have been successful. Some of them must
Yeah.
have been successful at that time.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the TV shows.
Oh, sorry. So the TV shows, I only happen to know because we all went to these networks. We were all getting approached by TV shows. And then at the end, way before the thing actually happened in November, everybody stopped getting approached because we all knew each other. And every time we would, well, those of us that knew each other would talk to each other. We would get approached by one of the TV shows. And some people had been on TV successfully and some people hadn't, right? So when somebody would get contacted by one of the TV producers, they would ask around. And then it basically by October of that year, everyone quit getting asked. And when it came up in the conversations, somebody who was still involved with one of the shows, they said that their person told them that because the calendar was going to end, that they figured nobody would want to watch these shows anymore. And that's why they made the decision to quit pursuing us. But then all that crap happened. But I think that unless they're crazy, and I don't know the speed or whatever the TV works at, but like I say, the game networks came over and made YouTube channels huge after Sandy Hook. Not as, basically because of all that attention. It happened to, to align with shortages of ARs and stuff too. But people made $1 million, means millions of dollars right in that area. So I would think behind the stations would have done something.
I was working behind the scenes on a TV show that was going to be on Discovery Channel on a different thing. And right when it was Vegas. That's what I'm thinking of. When Vegas happened.
In 18.
18, yeah. They put everything, it went into hiatus. We just never came out of hiatus.
Yeah, that part's frustrating. That's when those things, when it's like people go, oh, these things happen on cue. It's hard to say, no, they don't when they happen on cue and they squash a bunch of stuff right at the right time.
Yeah, so I mean, it was put on hiatus. But I'm going to go hang out with my kids, guys. We've been on for like 2 hours.
Oh, wow. Funny how time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah. I'm so glad I could get you on the regular show, Rod.
Oh yeah, just let me know ahead of time, man.
Yeah, I'll have Rich reach out to you. He does all the booking.
You talking about Flying Rich?
Yeah, he's the producer of the show. He produces the show.
Oh, okay.
He books everything, gets everything set up. I just show up.
You just show up, okay.
He just tells me, go this way, and I go.
So he's your Lola and you're Hank Strange.
Basically on John Crump Live. If you watch it on John Crump News, John Crump Live is what we do with that show. Yes, he is my Lola.
I was gonna say your Easter bunny.
My Easter bunny, yeah. Oh, the Secret Service agent. Come on, G-Webs, you gotta admit that was funny when the Secret Service agent was telling Biden to turn and he kept on walking up the hill.
Well, if I was the president, I'd do whatever I want, but I don't think that's what that guy was doing.
No, you know what I'm talking about, G-Webs?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's what I'm saying. But
I would think walking up the hill and people are like, what the hell?
Like, screw it. I'm walking where I feel like. This is my grass. I'm walking wherever I want. But I don't think that's
I don't know what happened. Clue me.
It was just like
but the Secret Service agent was telling Biden he lands at the White House, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna try to find it because
into one of the doors and there's like a sidewalk walking up to the door and he just decides to just not go in that. He just keeps walking. He just doesn't turn or whatever. He just decides to keep walking, but not in a way like, oh, I'm gonna go see if the hose is on, but like,
like he was looking.
Yeah, he was gone.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Damn.
We'll end the stream with this.
Mm.
So he comes off the helicopter, right? They salute him.
Well, this is the one where the guy's hat falls off and he runs and grabs his hat for him. Oh, wait, no, he's never done that.
No. So he's walking towards the White House, right? DLD says I'm the White King Strange. I don't know about that. So he's walking towards the White House. Now, this is where the goddamn guy lives. How do you get lost? You know, watch. So the Secret Service agent is going to tell him to enter on this door. He's going to start pointing to the door like, dude, you got to go to this door. You got to go to this door, right? Now watch this. So see the sidewalk, how it goes? Look, Secret Service agent's trying to stop him before he walks any further. Watch.
This is the best part. Like, yeah, it's a sidewalk over there. I'm not going in.
He's Secret Service. Where's he going?
He's like,
you never saw that?
no, I never
You
saw
didn't
that.
walk straight past the door and keep on walking.
I shouldn't laugh. I might be like that one day.
I closed down the link. To search up Biden gets lost to White House. You'll find. And that's not the first time he's been lost at the White House. You did see when he was talking and he was trying to shake the hand with a ghost or something like that, right?
Lord, no, I totally missed that one. I don't look at the news much. Damn, he's. Did you say shaking hands with a ghost?
He's just sort of gets turned around or whatever while he's shaking hands in a big line, and all of a sudden he's just shaking.
No,
Nothing.
this is not. This is not this. Watch.
So was somebody supposed to be there or something?
Could have been karate chopping somebody.
So basically, he was he got lost.
Wow.
And one thing, and the next thing he was trying to shake hands, and there's no one there, and he gets really, really confused.
Damn. All right, guys. Hey, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Early Tell people where they can find you, Rod.
They can find me hiding on no. They can find me at Scorcher Farms Training on Facebook, YouTube, as Hank Strange would say, the Twitters. My website is at scorcherfarmstraining.com.
Great trainer, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. I try not to, what did the Red Rider kid?
Shoot your eye out.
Yeah, I try not to shoot my eye out. So try to make sure that everybody else doesn't do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and G-Webs, tell people where they can find you.
Oh, I'm on the internet. So thanks for the link. Appreciate having a chance to chat. I've been working on a project here, so I'll have about 20 more minutes here, but it almost worked out my whole project here. Appreciate it.
Oh, that works out perfectly. I gotta go work on my book. Yay. I gotta send you that list, G-Webs. Like you just keep on forgetting.
Crump, let me know next time you're down here in Florida too.
Yeah, I'll be down there sometime in 2029.
Or if you go into the Iraq veteran range day.
I'll definitely be at the IV 8888. I don't know when I'm gonna be down in Florida next time, but I will be at the IV 8888.
Okay, I would like to be there too.
Are you going?
Yeah, I would go. My daughter lives up there too, so You
Oh
know,
yeah. You need an invite? Is that what you're saying?
I need an invite. I need a plug.
I guess I can. I can arrange something like that.
I appreciate it because I heard that you're the man for that. So
I don't know where you heard that from.
the
No, I
powers that
talked to
be.
Eric. I talked to Eric quite a bit, so
Yeah.
I can arrange it.
I got a picture of me and Eric. If I show it to him, he'll probably remember me.
Yeah. I'm sure he will. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah. Plus I'm prior Army too. So, hey, but you guys have a good one, man. It's been Gun Webs.
Gun Webs.
I sound like Joe Biden now.
G Webs, man. People call him G Webs.
G Webs.
That's all good.
Oh man,
it's good chatting with you.
Yeah, it's good chatting with you, and Crump. I'll see you when the crow flies. Okay.
All right, man. Not good.
Take care, man.
That's good. All right. See you guys later.